Why are we obsessed with serial killers? Why do we binge documentaries about the darkest minds on the planet? Why are serial killers turned into celebrities? It's not just morbid curiosity, it's about control, fear, and the thrill of understanding evil without being harmed by it. But beneath the surface, there's a deeper psychological question. What creates a serial killer? Not just how they kill, but why they kill. Why some people lose all empathy. Why the idea of murder becomes pleasure. In this video, we'll explore the terrifying psychology behind serial killers. Not to glorify them, but to understand what humanity is truly capable of and how close any of us might be to the edge. 1. The making of a killer. Childhood trauma and personality disorders. Many serial killers share a common origin story, a deeply traumatic childhood. Abuse, neglect, abandonment, these are often the seeds. Growing up without love or safety can lead to a fractured sense of self. If a child is constantly hurt, they may learn that hurting others is how the world works. Add to that personality disorders like antisocial personality disorder or psychopathy, and you get a dangerous mix. Psychopaths often show no remorse. They can mimic charm and connection, but feel nothing inside. And when you combine emotional detachment with trauma and a need for control, violence becomes a form of self-expression. Some serial killers report feeling a godlike power during murder. It's the only time they feel alive, in control. It's important to note, not everyone with trauma or personality disorders becomes violent, but the patterns are alarming. The signs can start early: hurting animals, lack of empathy, manipulation. When ignored or untreated, these signs can evolve into something horrifying. And society often misses the warning signs until it's too late. Serial killers are made, not born, but the making starts disturbingly young. Some grow up in homes that look normal from the outside, hiding years of torment. Others were isolated, rejected, or bullied, creating a blueprint for rage. Their world becomes about domination. If they couldn't control their pain, they'll control someone else's. They seek victims who reflect their vulnerability. Killing becomes a twisted act of reclaiming power. And once they cross the line, there's no going back. It becomes addictive, like a drug, like a compulsion. Each kill feeds the fantasy and rewires the brain. This is how the making of a killer begins, not in blood, but in silence, neglect, and psychological wounds that never healed. 2. The mask of sanity. Why serial killers seem so normal. One of the most chilling facts about serial killers is this: they don't look like monsters. They look like neighbors, co-workers, even friends. Ted Bundy worked on a suicide prevention hotline. John Wayne Gacy threw parties as a clown. Serial killers wear a mask of normalcy. It's part of how they operate. Psychopaths in particular are skilled at mimicking human emotion. They study how to fake empathy. They learn what smiles look like, what charm feels like, and they use it to lure victims. To the outside world, they're polite, helpful, even likable. This ability to blend in makes them incredibly dangerous. They know how to gain trust. They know how to manipulate. They know how to hide in plain sight. And often, they enjoy the performance. Pretending to be normal gives them a sense of superiority. They feel like predators among sheep, smarter, colder, untouchable. They craft dual identities, the public face and the hidden monster. Sometimes they lead double lives for decades, undetected. It's not uncommon for their own families to have no idea, because manipulation is their greatest weapon, not just with victims, but with everyone. They study people, they mirror them, they become exactly who you need them to be. And once they gain your trust, it's already too late. This mask of sanity is why so many killers go unnoticed for so long. It's not just about violence, it's about performance, deception, and the perfect illusion. Behind every charming smile could be someone studying your weaknesses. And that's what makes serial killers truly terrifying. Not just what they do, but how easily they can become invisible. 3. The pleasure of pain. What drives a killer to keep going? What makes someone kill again and again? What turns murder into a ritual? The answer lies in compulsion, fantasy, and the twisted pleasure some find in control. Many serial killers describe a need, a craving that builds until it must be released. Murder becomes not just an act, but a high, a form of psychological release. Often it starts with fantasies, detailed, violent fantasies that repeat over and over. When those fantasies are acted out, they provide intense gratification. But like any addiction, the high fades. And so the killer seeks another fix. It's not always about the act itself, it's about domination, power, and control. Some killers obsess over specific rituals, others escalate their violence over time. The more they kill, the more desensitized they become. They may keep souvenirs, revisit crime scenes, or insert themselves into investigations. This isn't just psychopathy, it's a psychological loop that feeds itself. The emotional detachment allows them to dissociate from the horror. To them, the victim is not a person, it's an object in their story. And their story is all about control, fantasy, and the illusion of godhood. They become addicted to the feeling of ultimate power. And no amount of killing ever satisfies it. The more they kill, the more empty they become, until the act is no longer enough, and they seek new ways to feel alive. This is the darkest truth of serial killers. They don't just want to kill, they need to. 4. Why the law often fails to catch them. Serial killers are calculated. They study law enforcement. They follow media coverage. They change their methods to avoid patterns. They travel across states. They wait. And that's why they're hard to catch. In many cases, law enforcement doesn't realize the murders are connected. Lack of communication between departments can delay investigations by years. Some killers target victims who won't be missed. Marginalized people, the homeless, sex workers. Their deaths often go unnoticed, and their cases remain unsolved. Technology has improved things, DNA, databases, profiling, but killers adapt too. They learn to avoid cameras. They study forensics. They plan better. And they often insert themselves into investigations. Some call in tips. Others attend victim vigils. Some even become police officers themselves. They feed on the chaos. They enjoy the hunt. Catching a serial killer requires more than evidence. It requires pattern recognition, luck, and sometimes a confession. Even with psychological profiling, the human mind is unpredictable. And that's what makes serial killers so elusive. They are not driven by logic, but by compulsion. Understanding their psychology helps, but it doesn't guarantee justice. And for many families, closure never comes. 5. Can they be stopped before they start? Prevention is the ultimate goal. But how do you stop something so hidden, so gradual? It starts with early intervention. We must pay attention to children who show signs of cruelty, isolation, or deep emotional wounds. Mental health support, trauma-informed care, and community engagement can all play a role. But society often fails the most vulnerable. We ignore the red flags. We stigmatize therapy. We punish instead of understanding. And so the cycle continues. Schools, parents, and systems need better tools to identify high-risk behaviors. This doesn't mean labeling kids as future killers. It means offering help before it's too late. Empathy can be taught. Support can heal. Intervention can save lives. We must stop glamorizing serial killers and start asking harder questions about the systems that let them exist. Because every killer was once a child, and every child deserves the chance to grow up without becoming a monster. Understanding the darkness to protect the light. We study serial killers not to glorify them, but to understand the darkness they represent. Because only by understanding how evil operates can we protect ourselves from it. The psychology of a serial killer is complex. It's rooted in trauma, manipulation, and a total lack of empathy. But it's also a reminder of something deeper, that evil often wears a human face. If you found this exploration insightful, share it with someone who's just as fascinated by the human mind. Subscribe to Mindshift Playbook for more deep dives into the darkest corners of psychology, because understanding the shadows might just help us protect the light.